All right, so today we're taking a deep dive into something pretty wild. You know those stories that make you think, wait, did that really happen?
Yeah, like those almost too crazy to be true kind of thing.
Exactly, that's what we're dealing with today. This deep dive is all about a real-life thriller from Patagonia, actually. Our main source is this CNN article about, well, it's about a kayaking trip that went very, very wrong.
Kayaking. Wrong. How so?
Picture this. You and your dad are kayaking in the Strait of Magellan.
Okay. Beautiful scenery penguins, maybe?
Yeah, all that, but suddenly a humpback whale surfaces right next to you. Now imagine that whale basically engulfing you.
Whoa, hold on, engulfing. Like swallowing.
That's what everyone thought. The guy's dad even caught it on camera. So we're talking about 24-year-old Adrian Semenkis and his dad, Del. They were just enjoying their Patagonian adventure when, bam, whale.
Okay, now that's a story for the scrapbook. But if the Strait of Magellan is known for whale-watching tours, wouldn't people and whales be kind of used to each other there?
You'd think so, right? I mean, you see pictures of people kayaking near whales all the time, but in this case, something definitely went wrong. The CNN article even says Dell thought his son was swallowed whole.
Oh, wow. But can whales even swallow humans?
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, it's not like they have those giant teeth like a shark.
Right, they have those baleen plates for filtering food, right?
Exactly. And their esophagus is super narrow, meant for like krill and small fish.
So more of a krill-sized vacuum than a human-sized one, I guess.
Exactly. Swallowing a person, definitely not happening. But I bet it felt pretty darn close to being swallowed for Adrian. The article describes him feeling this slimy texture on his face and seeing flashes of like dark blue and white as the whale closed in around him.
Oh, man. I can't even imagine.
He even mentioned this sinking feeling like being pulled under.
So if it wasn't trying to swallow him, what was the whale doing?
Well, the scientist interviewed by CNN, Vanessa Parado, I think, she suggested the whale was probably doing something called lunge feeding.
Lunge feeding. What's that?
Basically, the whale opens its mouth super wide and just gulps up a massive amount of water and whatever's in that area.
So this kayaker just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, basically got caught in the middle of the whale's lunch break.
Wow. Talk about bad luck.
But it does highlight an important point, right?
Definitely.
Even with creatures known for being gentle, like humpbacks, we got to remember we're dealing with powerful wild animals.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's always that element of unpredictability, no matter how much we think we know. And speaking of knowing, Adrian and his dad said they'd go back out on the water again.
Wait, really? After that, you'd think they'd swear off kayaking forever.
Right. But it just goes to show you the power of adventure, I guess. But it really makes you wonder, would you do the same? I mean, after finding yourself literally inside the mouth of a humpback whale.
That's a tough one. I don't know if I could be that brave.
It definitely makes you think about the sheer power and unpredictability of nature, right?
No kidding. And how much we still don't know about these amazing creatures.
Exactly. And that's actually a perfect segue into the next part of our deep dive. We're going to explore some fascinating facts about humpback whales, the things that make them so unique and mysterious.
Sounds good. Can't wait to dive in.
So we know whales don't swallow humans whole, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's a relief.
But it does make you think just how much we still don't know about these creatures, right?
Absolutely. The ocean is full of mysteries and humpback whales. With their complex behaviors and communication, they're like a prime example.
Okay, so humpback whales 101. I know they're found all over the world, but what else makes them so unique?
Well, their migrations are just mind-boggling. They travel thousands of miles each year between their feeding grounds in colder waters and their breeding grounds in warmer waters.
Wow, so it's like the ultimate underwater road trip.
Exactly. And it's not just cruising along either. They're navigating these vast distances using a combination of instinct memory and possibly even magnetic fields.
Wow, magnetic fields. That's crazy.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out exactly how they navigate so well.
It's incredible. And of course, we can't forget about their acrobatics. You know, the breaching, the fin slapping.
Oh yeah, it's like they're putting on a show for us.
Exactly. Do we know why they do that?
There are a lot of theories about it. Some say it's for communication, some say it's to attract mates, and some even think they're just having fun.
That's awesome. And what about their songs? I've heard those are super complex.
Oh yeah, humpback whale songs are considered one of the most complex forms of animal communication out there. They're these long, elaborate sequences of sounds, often lasting for hours, and they can be heard for miles underwater.
Hours. Wow. So is it like each whale has its own unique song?
Not exactly. While individual whales might have slight variations, there's a shared song structure within a population that evolves over time.
Oh, so it's like a cultural thing.
Exactly. New phrases and patterns get introduced and spread throughout the group.
It's like their songs are constantly being remixed. That's so cool. But do we know why they sing?
That's still a bit of a mystery, actually. Are they singing for mating? For navigation? Or maybe just to express themselves? Scientists are still trying to figure it all out.
It's amazing to think that we share the planet with creatures this complex. Thinking back to Adrian and his dad, Do you think that whale could have been singing when they encountered it?
It's definitely possible. They could have stumbled upon a whale concert.
Now, that would be something.
And it makes you wonder, could the whale's song have influenced its behavior? Was it feeling playful, trying to communicate something?
Good point. We might never know.
It's a good reminder that there's a whole world of communication happening underwater, a world we're only just starting to understand.
It really makes you think about our responsibility towards these animals.
Definitely. And it brings up the whole issue of wildlife tourism.
Right. How do we balance our desire to see these creatures with the need to protect them?
It's a tricky balance. There are potential benefits to wildlife tourism, like promoting conservation, educating people, and fostering appreciation for nature.
I get that. I mean, seeing a humpback whale breach in person must be incredible.
It really is. But there's also the risk of disturbance and potential harm. Getting too close, especially in large groups, can disrupt their feeding, breeding, and migration patterns.
And we could be making them less afraid of humans, which isn't good.
Exactly. Habituation can make them more vulnerable.
So it's a real balancing act, isn't it?
It is. We need to ask ourselves, are we being respectful observers, or are we intruding on their space?
It's like we're walking a tightrope between fascination and responsibility.
You got it. We want to appreciate their beauty without compromising their well-being.
It's definitely a lot to consider, and I bet our listeners have some thoughts on this too. What do you think about wildlife tourism? Is it possible to do it ethically?
That's a great question to think about, and it's one we'll revisit in our final segment. We'll leave you with a thought-provoking idea that might just shift your whole perspective.
Okay, so I'm back, and I gotta say, that image of Adrian and the whale, it's still stuck in my head.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to forget.
Really makes you think, huh?
It does. You know what's interesting, though? This story, as crazy as it seems, it's not totally unique.
Really?
Yeah, we hear about these kind of impossible encounters with wildlife more and more these days.
I guess it is a good reminder that we're not the only ones living on this planet.
Exactly.
It's like whether it's a kayaker and a whale or a hiker meeting a bear, even just seeing a cool bird in your backyard, it just kind of snaps you out of your routine, you know?
Yeah, like a little wake-up call.
Exactly. We share this world with so many other incredible creatures.
And sometimes those encounters can be a bit scary, right?
For sure. But what if instead of seeing them as threats, we saw them as opportunities?
Opportunities.
Yeah, like opportunities to see the world from a different perspective.
Oh, I see what you mean. Like trying to understand things from the animal's point of view.
Exactly. So instead of asking, how did that guy end up in a whale's mouth? We should be asking, what was the whale thinking?
What was the whale experiencing?
Yeah, was it curious? Was it just playing around? Maybe even startled?
We tend to put our own feelings onto animals, but their reasons for doing things are probably way more complicated than we realize.
So we're only getting one side of the story.
Yeah, we're so focused on ourselves that we forget to consider the animal side of things.
And if we could shift our perspective, maybe we could understand them better?
Move beyond just fear and wonder and into empathy. I like that.
So this deep dive wasn't just about a whale and a kayaker. It was about looking at our whole relationship with the nature in a new way.
Absolutely. We're all connected in ways we might never fully grasp.
And every encounter, whether it's amazing or scary, it's a chance to learn more about that connection.
I think that's a great takeaway for our listeners.
Yeah, I hope so. So next time you see a wild creature, take a second to think about what it's experiencing.
You never know what you might discover.
That's a great point. Well, that wraps up our deep dive for today. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep.